Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I have often said that a lot can happen in 10 years. People fall in love, people fall out of love, people become the best of friends, people part ways. We experience every emotion in the book. We cry together, we laugh together. We've really experienced everything with the power of this YouTube channel and my heart and my dedication. But having the honor to become a part of the soundtrack of Descendants of Zombies after having fallen into this niche has become the greatest honor of my life, and one that I will never ever forget, because it's gone on to hold a very special place in my heart, and I would like for all of you to know that. Thank you so much for having chosen this YouTube channel as your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel of all time, because having the chance to have these conversations every night about Clarke and Freya Skye has become the greatest honor of my life. And I would love to still be having these conversations 20 years from now. At least I hope we're still having these conversations, because Freya Skye and Clarke still have a long way to go. And the more love and support that we can show them and be there for them with is truly going to ensure their legacies of going down in history for being some of the greatest of all time. You know, the term superstar is often associated with big names like Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter, and obviously Ariana Grande for her portrayal in Wicked, or how Taylor Swift stands at a revenue of over $1.5 billion. But you know, those are just statistics that are posted online every night and often updated. It never really tells me anything about how a person really is or how they're feeling inside. But I think through sharing the stories that we've shared with each other about why we're fans of Descendants of Zombies, we've gotten to know people like Clarke and Freya Skye for the people they are. We've experienced Clarke at her high points, at her low points, through emotional times in her life that oftentimes she could never make sense of, because she's always missing you guys. Because some of you guys are some of her greatest friends, and that's the one thing that she's always appreciated about you guys, is having the chance to connect with you and relate with you on both a professional and a personal basis. That's something that Freya Skye does all the time, which is something that is really incredible about her, because she's such a superstar at such a really young age, putting such beautiful lyrics to beautiful melodies, and she's resonating with you in ways that no superstar has ever had the chance to. And that's the one thing that I will never forget about her rise in popularity on shows like Wizards Beyond Waverly Place, and of course Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, which was her first ever movie on Disney Channel and Disney Plus. This is going to be the first of many opportunities that Freya Skye is going to have, and I don't know about other people on YouTube who review this kind of stuff, but I'm really excited about the future and to be a part of that future with each and every one of you. So if you are somebody who would love to come along on this incredible journey with me, I've got a lot to say about Freya, and I believe in Descendants of Zombies with all of my heart, and I would love for you to have the chance to be a part of these conversations. I always wanted to create something special for every fan of Descendants of Zombies and to be a part of it, to get to know you for the people you were, because there's only and forever always been one you, and everybody is different when it comes to how they feel about Descendants of Zombies. No Descendants of Zombies fan are alike, and everybody is different. But you know something? That's what creates diversity in this world, and I've often said that diversity is a really beautiful thing because of how people feel differently about their favorite characters, because not everybody's favorite character is Clarke and Trell. Not everybody's favorite character is Nova. And that's what really allows us to really talk about Descendants of Zombies, because everybody has a different emotion they've experienced when it comes to their favorite song or their favorite moment or their favorite chapter of the trilogy. It's been so fun for me to really put this into perspective and tell my own versions of these stories through the years. Because a lot can happen in 10 years, as I just said, but this has been the greatest honor of my life. I've been on YouTube for many of you for over 30 years, and I've had the chance to resonate with so many different generations of Disney, so many different aspects of Disney. You guys know that ever since 1923, Disney has created over 15,000 characters. Some of those characters have been long forgotten. There's obviously the top characters like Buzz Lightyear and Woody and Rapunzel, but there's been over 15,000 characters that are often forgotten about that Disney has created ever since 1923. And that's really incredible. I remember being a part of the premieres of every franchise, from Toy Story to even Nightmare Before Christmas, and I never ever forgot how popular characters like Jack Skellington and Aladdin would eventually go on to becoming some of the most revered and often celebrated and talked about and discussed characters of all time, because Tim Burton offered a lot to Disney when he offered us Nightmare Before Christmas, and when Aladdin was brought to life for the first time ever in 1992. I never ever forgot that iconic carpet ride between Aladdin and Jasmine, and how much they would go on to mean to each other's hearts, because they were not only the best of friends, they loved each other with all their hearts, and all they wanted was to spend the rest of their lives together, and they had the chance to do that. I never ever forgot that iconic magic carpet ride. And I thought about how people like Clarke and Freya Skye should have been given the opportunity to play these live-action princesses such as Rapunzel and Jasmine for live-actions Aladdin and Tangled, because they've always wanted opportunities, and they've always been fans of these Disney princesses, so why not give them the chance to run away with their dreams and see how people respond to it? I know there are going to be people out there who would criticize the idea of Freya Skye playing Rapunzel or Clarke playing Jasmine, but it would be so cool to see them live out their dreams, because believe it or not, Kylie Control was just like all of you at one point in her life, when she would sit at home in her bedroom looking up at the ceiling wishing she could be a part of a popular franchise like Descendants and High School Musical and have the chance to bring these stories to life. Freya Skye got her hands on a karaoke machine when she was 5 years old. I started singing karaoke when I was probably, 25 years old. I had the whole setup. I had the smoke machine, I had the karaoke machine, the professional microphone, and I thought I was going to be the next Johnny Cash. Now, while that may have never happened for me, and I never had the chance to sing Folsom Prison Blues in front of a live crowd, don't ask me to sing it. I always had a dream of being a superstar, and often I've said that I wanted to go down in history for being the greatest of all time. But that honor has obviously been reserved for some of your favorite stars. But who's to say I'll never have the chance to work with them and meet them? Because I think having the chance not only to work with them, but getting to know them on both a personal and professional level is the greatest honor that any content creator could ever have. And I know there are a lot of content creators out there that don't hold that same appreciation with them. And the reason why their YouTube channels are never as successful as this one is because of the relationship that I built, obviously, with my audience, the stories I've told, because I've told my own versions of stories like Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin for over at least 30 years, because I believed in them with all of my heart. And every character that Disney would go on to create has become such a revered character, and often a celebrated and discussed character for me, because I always had a dream of working with the Disney company. I'm going to tell you guys a little secret and a little story. I always wanted to go to Disney World, and I always wanted to work with the Disney company. It was either one of the two dreams that I had. I realized the dream of going to Disney World, but I never had the chance to actually work with the Disney company, and I would have loved the chance to become everybody's favorite Disney Channel star and do my own Disney Channel signature. I always had that huge dream. And now that I see these stars who are still relatively young trying to make names for themselves in an industry that is very difficult to make a name for yourself within and leave your mark and impression behind, I feel so encouraged. I've never felt more inspired to create so many wonderful videos and to have come back in this generation that is a very different generation that I remember growing up in, because all you had was traditional Disney animation, which is a very different era from the generation that we are currently experiencing and being a part of. And I think that's what a lot of the content creators really are having really great difficulty trying to understand, is how it's a very different generation from what it was 30 years ago, because we kind of moved out of the Disney Renaissance era into an era that is prodded by more live action stuff like Descendants of Zombies and live action franchises like Tangled and Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast was one of the greatest live actions that I ever saw in my life in 2017. I couldn't help but fall head over heels in love with the story between Dan Stevens and Emma Watson, which was really brought to life. And then I saw Freya Skye having a desire to bring Tinkerbell to life and be the voice of Tinkerbell in a live-action Peter Pan, which she never had the chance to, and then her second choice was Rapunzel. And I would have loved to have seen Freya Skye have that opportunity over somebody like Tegan Croft, because Tegan Croft is somebody who has had more than enough opportunities, and I think that more people out there than ever given enough credit for have never seen enough opportunities or enough chances to relate to each and every one of you. I will never forget how passionate Ruby Rose Turner was about playing Rapunzel and having the chance to bring Rapunzel to life, and I just want to put it out there that I fully support Ruby Rose Turner's dream of being the live-action Rapunzel at some point in her life. Hey, if Mandy Moore can do it in 2010, so too can Ruby Rose Turner. Just give the girl a chance. I remember how passionate she was when she did an interview for, I think it was E.T., and they asked her if she could play one Disney princess other than her own for Descendants, who was Bridget at the time. Who would it be? And she flipped her hair back and she said, I'm just going to say it. And she shot for the moon and she said Rapunzel. And then her co-stars, Kylie and Malia Baker, supported her immediately. And I couldn't help but fall in love with that thought of Ruby being Rapunzel, because I really do believe that she could bring that character to life and sing songs like Now I Can See the Light and Wind in My Hair, which was a very popular theme song for the animated Tangled TV series, which was so popular from at least 2013 to 2017. I remember being such a huge fan of Rapunzel. She was obviously one of my favorite Disney princesses, and I often thought about who would play her in a live action. I've kind of been waiting for forever for Disney to bring the live action Tangled to life, and now it's finally happening. I'm kind of upset that it's not Freya or Ruby being given the honor, but whoever is going to bring this character to life has a huge responsibility, because this is a live action that Disney can ill afford to make any mistakes with. I want you guys to know, the one thing that you guys got to know about me is that I will forever take bullets out of love and support for your favorite stars. So when it comes to the criticism that they are receiving, more recently because of Descendants 5 having been officially greenlit, and of course Zombies 5 officially being greenlit earlier this month. So I know the criticism they are facing, but I want you guys to know that I will forever and always have the backs of your favorite stars. I've loved having these conversations. I've loved looking forward to having these conversations and really bringing them to life and encouraging you that chances of a zombie apocalypse happening could happen more than ever before, or even an alien invasion. Because if you actually go online and research this kind of thing, there are unidentified flying objects in the sky every night. Actually last year, I believe last summer, there was a story about how an alien probe was on the way to Earth to kill us all. And I was a believer in that more than anybody on YouTube, and I was trying to convince everybody that they had to prepare themselves, because I just wanted to tell you guys a funny story. You know, this is coming from a guy who ever since the age of 9 years old was trying to get beamed up by aliens on his front lawn, and his mom thought he was crazy, but she knew I was destined for great things. I don't think she ever thought that I'd become a YouTuber and become everybody's favorite YouTuber out there, but it happened. And I'm sure that if she was here today, she would be very proud of all of you for seeing something special at my YouTube channel for how I could tell this story. It goes back to how my mom, before she would tuck me in, would read me a story about Cinderella and Alice in Wonderland, and ultimately they became some of my favorite Disney stories ever told. I always had an appreciation for fairy tales, and yes, that had a lot to do with my mom. You know, every year for Christmas or my birthday, I remember how my mom would give me a Disney movie. I remember when 101 Dalmatians first came out, and I didn't want anything to do with Disney at the time because I didn't know what Disney was or what they were all about or what their message was. It took me a while to understand that their message was about kindness and friendships and believing in yourself, because I was really young. I think the first time I ever watched a Disney movie, I was 5 years old, and that was 101 Dalmatians. And my mom was adamant about buying the 101 Dalmatians VHS Masterpiece Edition for me, and I kept on refusing it. We would go into the movie store. She'd always pick it up and say, "Do you want to watch 101 Dalmatians? This movie is fantastic. I think you should watch it." And as many times as I would refuse it, she still was adamant about buying it for me. It didn't happen until my 9th birthday when I opened it up at a McDonald's inside of the caboose, but I did watch it. I took her advice, and I remember watching it. And after taking it home and watching it, from that moment on, I fell in love with Disney and the way they could tell stories, because of how old-fashioned the story between Pongo and Purdy were, how stories like Beauty and the Beast were brought to life for the first time ever. I remember how precious of a story that was to Walt Disney, and some of the producers who were a part of the original making of Beauty and the Beast never got to see it come to production, because some of them have passed away during the production of it. And I remember how Beauty and the Beast was my second movie of the Masterpiece collection that I added to my collection. You know, some of those now are worth over like $10,000 if you actually have the VHS and it was never opened or it was never played. And I remember, you know, just being so fond of these movies and how Disney could bring these characters to life. And I think that's how I came to be so appreciative of these characters that are being brought to life for the first time ever in Descendants and Zombies, and having the chance to retell these stories that have obviously left a very special place in our hearts and an imprint on our hearts that we will never ever forget. Because no matter who you are watching this video this evening, you have a favorite character from Descendants. That's why you're a fan of it. When you really think about it, the reason why you're a fan of Descendants and Zombies is because you have a favorite character. And I'm here to tell you guys that whoever your favorite character is, regardless of who that is, you should never be afraid to let the world know how passionate you are about somebody like Kylie Cantrell. Because I have never seen Kylie Cantrell so strong and so fearless and represent what she's been able to represent in so many emphatic ways and so many unimaginable ways that I never ever thought possible. I never thought Ruby Rose Turner would have come as far as what she did with a character like Bridget. Even though her time with the franchise was very short-lived, Ruby Rose Turner shined through with so much kindness and so much beauty that she ultimately became my favorite Descendants character. If you were to line up all the Descendants characters from both either the past or the present, I would choose Ruby Rose Turner hands down for just how genuinely sweet the girl was. She could have all my stuffies just to know how appreciative I was of how much she offered to this franchise, because even though her time with the franchise was very short-lived, she offered a lot, and she really brought that young Queen of Hearts to life because of how she really appreciated friendships, and she thought of time being the most precious commodity of all time. Because when you really think about it, time really is the most precious commodity of all time. Because we never seem to know how much time we have. And often the question resonates with us about how, what would we do with more time if we had it? Will we go back in time to tell more people that we love them? Will we use that time to fix some of our mistakes? Because as we all know, we are far from perfect. God knows that I am far from perfect. Somehow or some way, I have become everybody's favorite content creator for Descendants of Zombies. I have no idea why. Perhaps it has something to do with how I've been able to tell this story and how I've been able to bring this story to life far differently from other content creators out there. Maybe it has something to do with how I believed everything that I see on Disney Channel is real. Maybe it has something to do with how I seem to be suffering from an itchy nose every night that I record these videos. Does anyone know the cure for an itchy nose? By the way, every single night that I'm recording videos, I'm here scratching my nose. I know I've been suffering from a cold for the last couple of days, but I think I'm well over it. But for some reason, every night I'm scratching my nose. Maybe it has something to do with the excitement of Descendants of Zombies. I really don't know. And yes, I still want to be an action hero for everybody out there. I just got to put that out there because I only have a few minutes left on this podcast, so I'm going to use the last few minutes that I have to say, yes, I would love to be an action hero for everybody to fall in love with in Descendants of Zombies. Because when it comes to some of these guy actors, they're really not coming through for you guys, and I just wanted to be everybody's hero. I always wanted to go down in history for being a hero. You know, I remember when the yearbook was passed around every year at the end of school, and they would ask one question. It was, what do you want to get the most out of life? And I would think, and I would think, and I would think some more, and I would take my pencil and I would write either pro wrestler or everybody's hero. I have no idea how, at that time, I had no idea how I would ever be everybody's hero, but it would be so cool to have the chance to be an action hero for everybody out there and to really put smiles on your faces, because there's no greater honor in the world to be able to do that and to have the chance to create something so special. I've loved having the chance to resonate with people and connect with far more people than I ever imagined possible. Because honestly, guys, I've really had the time of my life hosting this channel and putting these videos together for every single person who may have ever believed in something special for Descendants of Zombies. I've loved this so much, and I look forward to having many more conversations just like this one in the very near future. Because if you've ever wanted to take a chance on something so special, I think Descendants of Zombies is that something special that we can all take a chance on, and I think we can feel very confident about for their futures. Because I know there are people out there that have suggested they don't see it getting past Zombie 6 or going past Descendants 5 or ever seeing Descendants 6, but there's already reports of how Descendants 6 is currently in development over at Disney, and I'm really excited to have the chance to be a part of this with each and every one of you. And I'm really excited to share with you my theories, my predictions, and I know my house may be haunted, and you guys hear a lot of banging in the background. People have been trying to tell me this house was haunted for years. Like, I got that kind of checked out. I've always had an appreciation for supernatural, so I think I'm good. I've loved living here. Living here on this island is really beautiful because it gives you a chance to really resonate with more people than ever before. There are a lot of stories about mermaids and pirates, which Zombies 5 seems to be revolving around, even sirens and witches. There are stories about how people go missing all the time when they're berry picking out in the woods or getting lost at sea on ghost ships and getting lost in the fog. I myself have stories about getting lost in the fog too. I think one night when I was on my way home, I got lost in the fog. I think I was trying to catch an episode of Liv and Maddie or one of the new chapters of Descendants, and for some reason I got lost in the fog, and I don't know to this day how I found my way out of the fog. It's really easy to get lost in the fog. I don't recommend it to anybody, but I've lived here on this island for forever, and there are so many legendary stories about this island associated with mermaids and pirates that you just can't help but have conversations about Descendants and Zombies and look forward to them and really bring them to life for so many wonderful people. Guys, thank you so much for having made this your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel of all time and give me the chance to resonate with more people than ever before, because it's been the greatest honor of my life, and I've really loved putting these videos together for you and really being the magic behind Descendants of Zombies. But the more that I think about it, you guys are the magic behind Descendants of Zombies, and you are the reason why Descendants of Zombies has gone on to have so much profound success. I've really had the time of my life, and I've considered this to be an honor and a blessing to be able to sit in this chair every night in front of this camera and record and share my thoughts on Descendants of Zombies with each and every one of you. So if you would love to be a part of this conversation, if you're somebody new here who has never watched any of these videos, hi. My name is Jonathan Clarke, and it is my honor, my profound honor, to have met you and to have shared my story with you, and I look forward to hearing your story about how you're a fan of Descendants of Zombies, which you will share with me in due time. I look forward to these conversations every single time I ever have the opportunity to have one of these with you, because I follow Descendants of Zombies adamantly, and I'm very dedicated to Descendants of Zombies because, yes, the rumors are true. Jonathan Clarke believes everything that he sees on Disney Channel is emphatically real. And that should give you more of a reason to believe in the future for Descendants of Zombies than perhaps ever before. Again, guys, it's a beautiful evening out there tonight. Thank you so much for having chosen this as your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel of all time, and for holding a very special place in your hearts for Descendants of Zombies characters and their stories. It's been my honor to create all these wonderful videos for you guys. Hopefully you guys think I'm a really cool guy, a really down-to-earth guy, really nice guy, really sweetheart, and you will hit my subscribe button. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey. It truly has been an incredible journey and a profound honor of mine to bring these videos to life and share with you my story about how I became a fan of Descendants of Zombies. Thank you so much for having chosen this YouTube channel as your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel of all time, and thank you so much for having watched this video.